Hello, happy Monday. Happy day before Valentine's Day. I'm Tamera Loerzel, and with me is Jennifer Wilson, and we're here for our Monday HR Huddle. Good to be with everybody. And given it's the Monday before Valentine's Day, we thought we would bring a little bit of love to this conversation. And specifically, we were talking about how we can maybe show or demonstrate our love for this profession, for my career, for my firm, and some of the things that we could be doing to further that love and express that love. There might be a little bit in there of things that we should maybe stop doing that are deferring from demonstrating that love, but we're going to try to focus on the solution side of it, and how do we demonstrate love for our profession and this great opportunity that we have here. And so I think we'll just kind of tag team this, Jen, and we'll just go back and forth. And I'll jump in and start one that I think is super important. And it sounds simple, but it's what are we saying about our profession and my job and my career? And we're embarking on, or some of us are in the middle of a busy season here. And so, saying the things that, we really value about our work. And I think focusing on the client relationships and focusing on the solutions that we get to provide for people and the problems that we get to help solve. And when we focus on that, maybe the drudgery that we might experience becomes less. And I think it can be easy to get into talking about, how busy we are, or that the volume that we have, and maybe even a little bit of complaining that we have, and instead of focusing on, hey, here's the difference that we get to make, and here's the great team we get to work with, and speaking to those things that we really value and appreciate, that we're grateful for. So I think that's one place that I would start, and that's probably a big one, Jen. So you probably have a few things that you would add to what are we saying, saying things that we love about our work and our profession and our team.
Yeah, Tamara. I mean, I love that one, and we could spend all of our time probably there for sure. I think we like to say, please don't complain at the kitchen table, right? Please don't sort of give what you do for a living a bad name by acting very martyred to it or whatever. And try to find the gratitude and the positivity and focus on that. Like, we really are lucky that we have an almost unlimited stream of work. And while we can feel victim to that, those of us that have had our business through many business cycles know that it's much scarier and harder if there's no work.
Right.
So like while our people are feeling overwhelmed, we could acknowledge that honestly, but say, we're so lucky to have this much work. We just have to figure out how to say no better, prioritize it better, automate it, and all those other things, like to come up with hopeful statements and gratitude instead of the complaining. I think that's super critical. I also think that, I feel like we need to center on, I love my job. I think that if you're not leaving your job today or tomorrow, then you should probably try to figure out how you could find some love for it. And one way to find it is to just say it, to generate it. And it might, there used to be a comic strip, love is ... and maybe it's, I love my job because ... And every day wake up and try to find something, like sometimes the reason I love my job is because I love Tamera. And I get to be with Tamera, and she makes me laugh, and we're super honest with each other, and we carry each other's burdens at times. And, so like that day, that might be the thing. It might just be Tamera, my person, not necessarily the work I have to do today, because maybe that isn't going to generate a lot of love feelings right this minute. So it depends, and so just try, or I love to write. Pretty soon I have a couple hours scheduled to write coming up. And when I get to write, I'm going to be like, today I love my job because I'm going to get to write. And so anyway, I just think maybe that's a way to manifest that or generate it, or I don't know, bring it up.
Yes.
And if you do that and you're able to feel it, but also maybe say it sometimes to other people, it could be an example for them to stop and go, I love my job because, and name something. And you could even start a meeting and say, today, what do you love about the work? And instead of like, I don't know, the Eeyore way of starting a meeting. All right, everybody, let's get going. We've got a lot on our agenda, and we all need to get back to our very, very busy, burdened work schedules. Like, I don't know. It could be more fun than that, and it could be more loving.
I love that. And I love that idea of just, I love it because, and it does change. Sometimes it is because of the client, or I got an email this morning I need to share with the team that I woke up to Monday morning. It's like, okay, this is why I love doing what I love, is because of the difference that it made, or the person. Jen and I will often say that we'll be in New York at a client or somewhere, and we're like, I love this. I love being here with you. I love that we're doing this together. And sometimes that's what it is, which is, by the way, very important to be having those relationships and building those relationships, and meeting with people so we're not transactional. Why that's so critical, because sometimes that is what that love is right there. Jen, I wanted to pick up on something you said about not complaining about our profession at the kitchen table. And we talk about a pipeline shortage that we have of people coming into accounting degrees and then passing the CPA exam. And so, saying, I love this profession because, and maybe Caroline, that's the title of this thing. I love this profession. I love, my job because, but I love this profession because I get to, have a say in my schedule, because of the earnings potential that I have, because of the relationships I develop with my partners, with my clients, et cetera. And not be that, victim of it. And so, as we look at how do we create a pipeline of people that want to be in this profession, I think that's really important for us, to be focusing on in our personal circles, and then in our, like family circles, friends circles, and then in our different networks, and community, whether it's at church or, maybe a networking organization I belong to or whatever. But when they ask, what do you do? And I hear it's, tax season or busy season, we could get, sucked right into there. And instead, yes. And I get to meet with virtually every client now in the next 3 months. And it's, the highlight of my year. And, I still get to have, dinner with my family, on certain evenings, or, go to sports events or whatever it might be. But being able to share that. And I just think that is so important, as we look at how do we create this pipeline of people that want to, be in this incredible profession that we've been able to, be in for however many years it is for each one of us.
Yeah, I just, it doesn't mean because I talk about the things that I love that I'm blind to the problems, or that I am committed that they just stay the same and we change nothing. Um, we can be committed to change the business model. We can be committed to change the firm. We can be committed to change the characters in our firm when sometimes we have some shaky, performers, or some, bad behavior happening, and we're committed to make those changes. I can have all of those issues present and be committed to make the shifts, but still find a way to generate enthusiasm, positivity, inspiration, love toward the work, toward the privilege of the work,
Right.
and the relationships. They're not mutually exclusive, where, I'm a Pollyanna and a loser because I'm not going to change anything just because I'm trying to generate that positivity. And I think a lot of times we kind of begin to spiral as a group. It's very common. Tamera and I have the privilege of joining groups sometimes on a regular basis, executive committees or comp committees or strategic planning committees or HR committees. And it's very interesting. Sometimes they'll be super social and very related, and lots of personal dialogue before we get going. And then they're very, sort of in the business and working on the business, but positively. Sometimes we get on some of these groups, and they start with complaints. Like one guy will tell a war story of the latest bad thing that happened, and then they'll sort of do that for a few minutes, and then we have to shift into the work, and it's a little like, yeah, this is hard. We accidentally drove into the ditch at the beginning of this meeting, and we got to get ourselves out of the ditch to have the strength to do this kind of challenging work we have. Why did we do that? Because the war stories, or my mom would call it saying, ain't it awful this and ain't it awful that. that just, it screws you up for being able to generate and collaborate and brainstorm and all these cool things to solve problems. And if the war stories aren't about the problem we're here today to solve, or the issue we're here to work on, they take us on some strange U-turn that, that isn't going to get us where we need to go.
And it's a time suck. It's a time waster, because we're not going to necessarily solve anything. And I don't even know that we feel better from it. Like we're going to feel better from it. But instead, it's like, okay, we're going to focus on what we can affect and what we're here to do and what we're going to change. And I think that's, something else, for us to pay attention to is, what steps are we going to take, to make change? And that's the other thing that's I think so great about this profession and the firms that we work in is, there's so much change happening, but we have a lot of say in what the change is that's going to happen. And so we can affect that change. I think another one, Jen, is, I said, the earnings potential would be something that I think we would say, we love about this profession. And we have people maybe leave public accounting because I can make more today, but the long-term earnings potential is maybe not as great when we look at it over 30 years. And I think that's something for us to talk more about and be more transparent about, first of all, is because I think a lot of partners would say, I love the earnings potential, of this firm and of this profession. But we also need to start doing that earlier and starting salaries and get competitive as a profession with other industries that are competing for accounting graduates. And so, we can say, we love the earning potential. Let's start sharing in that wealth, literally, sooner rather than later. And how can we, spread that wealth, share that wealth, be more transparent about it? But there's a lot of opportunity there right now for us to look at. What are we doing from a compensation perspective, bonus perspective, talking about what the potential is over time, so that people can see that. Because it's not always as transparent. And then we get stuck in the, it's busy season, it's March 13th, just doesn't feel worth it. It's like, forget it. I want the immediate gratification instead of the long-term gratification. So.
Yeah. Well, so I agree with that. And we do have to look at the longer range implications of some of this. There's no doubt. So, when I think about this idea of generating love, another place to look for it is in feedback. And so I love you so much that I want to share with you something I've observed. I care about you so much that I don't want you to walk around with toilet paper on your shoe or whatever it might be that is happening right now in your performance, or and it's something about our work relationship that I don't think is working. And maybe it's just like, I feel like there's something strained. I had a conversation with somebody today, and the person said, my goodness, my relationship with so-and-so is so strained. And I said, gosh, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. What's causing it? And she said, I just don't know. And I said, well, we have to find out. You have to find out. And sometimes we feel things in our relationship with others at work, like this isn't working, or this isn't efficient, or I'm not getting what I need, or I'm not sure we're making the difference for the client here, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And we have these feelings, but we don't have the guts or something to risk saying it. And so at Convergence, we spend a lot of time talking about both giving and receiving feedback and teaching it. And one of the things we just have to cause ourselves to really realize is that I lack courage and I lack commitment to the person if I'm not willing to risk the relationship and share my feedback. And I don't have to do it negatively or from anger or from disappointment or from make wrong or from shame, or I can just come from love. I could just say, hey, I feel like there's something strained in our relationship. I'm not sure why. And I'm just wondering, what do you think? And what could I do to shift it? That idea of 100% responsibility that we talk about a lot is so powerful in feedback, and just saying, hey, I'm really committed that we make a bigger difference for this client. And I don't feel like we're getting there yet. And I'm not totally sure why, but one of the reasons is because I'm not sure that we're delivering the depth of advice yet. And I wonder if you're feeling that way and what you and I can do together to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like one of the best ways to give feedback is just to sort of say it from care and say it from you and me together. We're in this together, collaboration and group problem solving. And I just think that that's a way that I could truly demonstrate love, is being willing and in the right forum. And maybe, we can't be a feedback giver all the time. Some of us are. And then people are like, I've had enough feedback, so showing love is showing restraint too. And sometimes, picking and choosing, like this doesn't rise to the level of materiality for me to say anything about. And so like picking and choosing when I'm going to do that, but not withholding in a way that it starts to create a pileup of kind of, I don't know, like feedback litter between us, like a little junk pile between us of a feedback that isn't getting cleared. And that starts to create a wedge in our relationship. So, and if it's about somebody's performance at work and it's going to hurt them with promotion or hurt them, with their success, the only thing, that I have to do is I have to, love them enough and care enough about their performance that I'm going to screw up the courage to say it.
Well, and I think along the feedback lines, another way we demonstrate our love is acknowledgement and appreciation and thank you. And I'm grateful for you. And I enjoy doing this with you.
Mm.
Verbalizing those things, which I think, I know I get busy. And just stopping to say, hey, I just really appreciated working with you on this engagement, or I really appreciated the depth that you took and insights that you had with the client. It really made a difference. Or, I appreciate you stepping in here. We had a need and you just stepped in, you saw it. Thank you for doing that. And I just think we could do a lot more of that to demonstrate our love, especially for our people, but sometimes for our clients and sometimes for others that, we're partnering with. We could probably do that more for, but I guess I would always start with our team and say, how can we demonstrate more of that love and that appreciation, for our team? And there's a saying, what you want more of, give it out and you'll get it back too. And so you will feel more appreciated. You will feel more grateful when you do that as well. So I think that's just a really good reminder for us all. It only takes a couple seconds to, share that appreciation or share that gratitude that you have for somebody.
I agree. So another form of love at work, I think, is making sure we're having fun. Not just fun like, the summer picnic or, remote cooking class or something, not just fun like that, but, really looking for ways to stop and incorporate people and their lives and their hopes and dreams and the things they think are fun into the business and learning about them, knowing them. What do you do outside of work? I love that question. I love, what did you do this weekend? And paying attention to it, starting to really pay attention to what people do and what they say. And when they say, gosh, I had the best weekend, what that is. Our team writes about it. Often I get to read people's weekends escapades. And I love reading what they've done. And, they're, very busy crocheting something or tearing out a staircase and, rebuilding it or, found a great new dog park or whatever it is. And all of those are ways that we can sort of incorporate the whole person. And then when we think about, team activities and when we think about team gifts, we like to give, gifts sometimes. And, we try to think not what's like a corporate gift or something, what's a meaningful thing that would make a difference for this person for the stuff they like, and if possible, personalization of those activities and that sort of thing. But my goodness, having fun as a team and laughing together and experiencing new things. Tamera, I know you were at a work event where they had a cooking class. I saw pictures of that. And I think it's just a real bonding thing. Maybe you want to say something about that.
Yeah, so we were at the CPA Consultants Alliance last week, and we decided, since we can choose the location, we went to Puerto Rico because it's warm, and most of us happen to be in the Midwest. But we structured it this year so we did half-day meetings, 3 half-day meetings, so we could do some of those fun activities or team building or bonding activities. And it was just so great. Some of us did yoga on the beach, and in Puerto Rico it rains and then it stops raining, and we had a beautiful, rainbow. And some of us did this, cooking class, and we learned some history. It was in her home, and so I mean that's pretty vulnerable that she opens her home up, to teach us cooking, but also the history and the African influence and the indigenous, native influence to the Spanish influence that came. And it was super fun to see who knows how to use a knife and who's persnickety about washing dishes afterwards. And like, you learn so much about people. It was, you just don't think about those kinds of things that you see and you learn about people that you just wouldn't know, otherwise. And then we had a Uber that had disco lights, no kidding, and a big video with music. And, there was a couple gentlemen in the front seat controlling all the music. And we were having a disco party on the way back to our hotel, and we were stuck in traffic. So it was a pretty long drive compared to getting there. But that's the thing. You just see people in different environments, whether it's the company picnic, or we've done escape rooms. We've talked about that, or this cooking event, or, yoga, or whatever it might be. And just learning so much about people that you don't see that version of them maybe in our everyday work together. And I just think that's what I took away from it, was like, wow, I didn't know about this person that I've been meeting with for 10 years, by the way. I had some new insights about them.
I love it.
Super fun.
That is fun. And I was thinking about Caroline, who runs our HR Huddle and our leadership lunch chat live streams. And she was only 2 months old with us when we had a murder mystery group, remote murder mystery. And we all were emailed a part that we had to play, and we were encouraged to come in costume. And her part was like a Swedish hacker or something, and but also like acting like an agoraphobe. And I don't remember what else was in her part, but she a cat person, and she has a cat, and she did a major costume situation, used the prop
and voice change.
And then, well, that was the main thing, is that when her identity was revealed and she spoke, she was hardcore Swedish accent and did not lose it, did not drop it. And we did not know her well. We only had worked with her for 60 days, but we loved her. We loved her already, but the entire team was like, wow, this person is hysterical and creative and courageous.
Gutsy. I was going to say,
loved it. And if we need a sustained Swedish accent, we know where to go, for any reason. It was just,
she's in the background going like this.
Yeah. She's like,
just so our viewers know.
But anyway, we love Caroline, and it just was a real quick way of bonding her into the group.
For sure.
Telling all those details. Sorry, Caroline, but, just really a fast ramp up to integration. And people are like, well, we don't really get to know people when we work remotely. You must not be doing the right activities, because you can get to know people quickly and love people quickly by having fun and doing kind of out of the box activities with them that allow you to know them in a different light. And it creates a deeper bond and a deeper sense of loyalty, and brings more fun when work sometimes isn't as fun. So anyway, just another way of loving your work.
Love it, love it, love it. So we hope you find some love and can reflect on, what do you love about your work? And maybe that's what you do tomorrow. You wake up for Valentine's Day and start sharing, what do you love about, your job? What do you love about your work? And encourage other people to share. We could do a whiteboard, remotely. We could do a whiteboard in our, lunchroom, whatever it might be, to start sharing those, or, start a discussion, post on Teams. But that would be a really fun way to engage in some love at work on Valentine's Day. So we hope you do that. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we will plan on seeing you next week. Thanks for being with us today. Bye-bye. Bye.